What's up, people of YouTube? I'm Karsatowski, and welcome back to the Karsatowski Games YouTube channel. So today, we have the fourth match of our Wii Sports Bowling Winter and Spring Tournament. So, we have had 3 matches thus far. The first match was contested between Dewey and Pee-wee. Dewey was the winner of that, coming on top with a 587 to 526 over Pee-wee. And in the second match, we had Jenna Kate versus Wakey. Jenna Kate came on top with the 583 to 576. And in our last video, we had Chong coming on top of Tito with the 639 to 587. So today we have our fourth match. And this one ought to be a pretty good one. We've got 2 of our kind of interesting, eccentric bowlers today. So without further ado, let's get on to the fourth match of the Wii Sports Bowling Winter-Spring Tournament. The first bowler of today's match, he's got the biggest head of hair in the Wii Sports Bowling console, and he's got one of the most interesting names as well. It's Just Breath. So Just Breath is kind of an interesting character. So he hasn't really bowled too much, but let's see how he progresses in this tournament and in this match. He goes a pretty light right there, leaving the 1-2-4 spare. Oh, and he chops that right off the bat. Our second bowler of this match, he also has the biggest head of hair in Wii Sports Bowling console, and he's got the craziest eyes and the craziest goatee you will ever see in any Mii. It's Dawson. So just like Just Breath, Dawson doesn't really bowl too much either. So let's see how he does in this match. This one ought to be a pretty interesting match with these eccentric characters. And both bowlers start off with an open frame. Huh. They're both tied with an open frame for the first frame. Interesting, guys. And Just Breath leads double wood. And he leaves another open frame. So that's 3 open frames between 2 bowlers today. Dawson gets his first strike of the match. Pretty slow hit. Dawson may have one of the lowest rev rates in our entire Mii roster. Just Breath leaves yet another open frame. Man, Just Breath is not having a great ball reaction right now. He may have to try to do a little bit of what Dawson's doing. Dawson trips out the 4 pin. Oh, look at that pin carry right there. And who says a low rev rate can't have good pin carry? So Just Breath is in a massive hole right now. And I think he's going to do the same thing Dawson's going to do. Which honestly I think would probably be a good decision. But Just Breath is really going to have to get it along here. He at least converts his first spare. Ooh, light mixer from Dawson leaves the 510. Just picks up the 5. Ooh, Dawson almost gets a ripper 5 pin to fall down. I think this match will probably come down to whoever can shoot 200. I think the bowler whoever can get to 200 or even 180 probably will be the one to win. Again, these bowlers don't really bowl that much, so it's going to be interesting. But I think whoever averages at least 180 or 190 is going to come out on top. But as we've seen in our previous matches, you know, 190 is a pretty good average. And we've only had one bowler to average 200 their first 3 matches thus far. And both players get strikes. that frame, that turn. Oh, Dawson goes a tad light, leaving another 5-pin. They're both at least closing frames, though, unlike our first 3 frames of this match. Dawson just throws that one way too slow. I mean, Just Breath just throws that one way too slow. Man, I feel like we're going to see a lot of those kind of hits in our match today with the low rev rate that's going on, and also with the high loft as well. But you've got to have a pretty good amount of loft if you're going to play that straight. Dawson gets away with a very similar break to Just Breath. Dawson just doesn't get that ball to have as good pin carry as he did last time. Oh, and he chops the spare. That leaves a door wide open for Dawson. Honestly, all Dawson has to do at this point is just close frames, because Just Breath can only go out for 152, which I believe would be our lowest game of the tournament thus far. Yeah, Dawson will win this game because Dawson's already at 154. So Just Breath just needs to strike out and hope that he doesn't get too far behind Dawson going into game 2. I think Just Breath and Dawson both are going to have to move a little bit closer to the head pin. Like, they keep getting really light shots just like that, and you're just not going to knock down all 10 pins consistently if you keep doing that. So Just Breath sits down with the 141. Let's see what Dawson does in the 10th frame. And he almost completely misses the head pin on that shot. And he at least picks up the bucket. Alright, Dawson gets a light mixer. So in our first game of match 4, we have Dawson on top of the 180 and Just Breath at 141. So we have a 39 pin match right now. So Just Breath is probably going to need to move a little bit closer to the head pin, but not close enough to where he's going to slice right through it. And he pretty much does just that to trip out the 7 pin nicely. But his ball does have a lot of deflection though, so he's going to have to keep throwing it pretty hard if he's going to get his ball to strike. And Dawson does the exact same thing. Almost identical shots to start out our game 2. Perfect shot from Just Breath. So it looks like these bowlers have gotten lined up ever since game 1. This is going to be a pretty high scoring match if both bowlers can stay online. Keep filling frames. Okay, that's a double for both bowlers to start out. Turkey. That's probably Just Breath's first turkey he's ever had, potentially. And now it's time for Dawson to match him. Turkey dinner. Turkey between both of these bowlers to start out match number 2. Completely different match from the first one, where we had 3 open frames over the first 3 frames. Actually, 4 open frames. Oh, look at that break from Just Breath. Trip out that 7-10 split for a ham bone. Yeah, Just Breath has definitely gotten back into this, and so has Dawson. They both figured out how to strike after the first game, and yeah, gets a ham bone of his own. This might be the highest scoring match we've had thus far, folks. They're pretty much playing right on top of each other and throwing it about identical. And they're both matching each other strike for strike. Dawson has another strike of his own to match with his own Yahtzee, or 5 in a row. But Just Breath pretty much just needs to keep striking because he's down by 39 pins after the first game. And that's his first errant shot, just leaving the 4-7. Oh, man. That was not a good shot from Just Breath. He just left the door wide open. But the good news is he's already beaten his last game by already 3 pins. And Dawson pretty much leaves something very similar. Both bowlers go light in the 6th frame. Well, now they're pretty much both even, with Dawson having just a 2-pin advantage over Just Breath through 6 frames. And Just Breath goes light again. Yeah, the key for these bowlers is to keep throwing it hard and straight, but if they're going to kick out that 5-pin, they're going to have to get as close to the head pin as they can to drive into it. Dawson does just that, and getting his 6th strike of the match. Just Breath really needs to strike out for this game because I don't see Dawson shooting lower than 200 in this game. Perfect strike right there. Another strike for Just Breath. Just Breath is pretty much trying to stay in this game. Dawson goes light and leaves a very weird looking split. He leaves, well, almost leaves a split. I thought he was going to leave double wood, but he actually left the 4-7-8. Which isn't an easy spare, but definitely makeable. Which he picks it up nicely. So that leaves the door cracked open just enough for Just Breath to move right in. Perfect strike from Just Breath for a turkey. Another strike. And another strike and a Yahtzee to finish off the 2nd game. So Just Breath will sit down with a 254, which is 113 pins higher than his last game. And now Dawson needs to continue to strike out to be within 10 pins after game 2. Oh, and he trips out the 7-pin late. Perfect strike, so both bowlers strike out in the 10th frame. This is definitely the highest scoring match of any of these two players, of all the players we've had so far. So the first match was our lowest scoring series at 141 and 180, and now this game is the highest that we've had out of any bowlers at 254 and 243. They're really the most improved bowlers so far. So Just Breath is now only trailing by 28 pins going into our 3rd and final game of this match. So Just Breath is only trailing by 28 pins. So if he bowls a really good game this game, I think he can move on to the top 8 after a pretty rocky start. But Dawson still has a chance to put some heat on too, because Dawson really improved from his first game as well. And he doesn't look like he's going to be slowing down. So this is going to be a really good match. Another perfect shot from Just Breath. And another one to match for Dawson. That ball rolls out nicely for Just Breath for a turkey. 2nd game in a row that Just Breath has started out with a turkey after that disastrous first game. And a turkey to match for Dawson. As long as Dawson keeps matching Just Breath shot for shot, Dawson's going to win this match. But Just Breath is definitely not out of this yet. As he's just shown Dawson that he can play the same lane as he can, and he can strike as much as he can as well. And both these bowlers are not giving each other an inch whatsoever. Ooh, Dawson missed it left, but got away with one. Oh, that was almost a stone 8 from Dawson, but managed to trip it out. You know, after the first game, it looked like neither of these bowlers would have any kind of a chance against our other 3 players who've moved on to the top 8. But after the last game and a half, these bowlers are already having the highest scoring matches of anybody. And if these guys can continue, and whoever moves on from this match, and if they have the same kind of ball reaction, then they could be almost unbeatable in this tournament. And both start out with a 6-pack in Game 3. Oh! Just Breath gets away with one right there. Goes a little bit light, trips out the 4-pin for 7-bagger. And Dawson has a 7-bagger of his own. He needs this one, and he gets it. 8 strikes in a row for Just Breath. That's 15 strikes for both these players in this game. That's 8 in a row for Dawson as well. Both these bowlers have the front 8 in this one game. Oh, he really needs that one. Oh, and he trips out the 7-pin. Man, Just Breath has gotten away with the shot that's been light and a shot that's been high to stay alive in this match. Oh! Oh, man. Now that hurts pretty bad. If Dawson would have struck out on that ball, then this match pretty much would have been over. Because he has a 28-pin lead over Just Breath going into this game. So if he would have struck right there, then he would have only needed 3 pins in the 10th frame if Just Breath would have struck out. So now here's situation. If Just Breath can strike out in the 10th frame, he will shoot 300 for the first time in his career. And that means that Dawson would need at least the first 2 strikes in the 10th frame to win this match. So Just Breath needs all 3 strikes in the 10th frame for a 300 game and to win the 4th match of our tournament. And he goes for it. And he gets this first strike in the 10th. The perfect 10. Man, Just Breath has gotten away with 3 shots that could have easily had 1 pin standing. Oh, and that's 11 strikes in a row for Just Breath. He needs all 10 pins right here to put all the pressure on Dawson. And he misses it. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Man, he's gotten lucky 3 times with that, but he will finish off with a 299 in our match. So he went from the lowest game in our tournament to the 2nd highest game, and now the highest game at 299. So here's situation. Dawson needs at least a 261 or better. He needs a 262 or better to pretty much beat Dawson. No, he needs a excuse me, he actually needs at least a 262 or higher. So he's pretty much going to need at least the first 2 strikes. Anything less, and he can lose. And he gets the first one.
Nice throw.
This has probably been the best match so far in our tournament, honestly. Started out with the lowest set, then had the highest set second game, and now finish off with the highest set. And that strike right there is pretty much more than enough to seal the deal right there. Even though Just Breath shot 299, Dawson is going to be within 20 pins. And there we go. 279. So that is Just Breath with the 299 and Dawson with the 279. So the results are in, folks. So after 3 matches, after 3 games of our 4th match, we have Just Breath at a 694 and Dawson with a 702. So Dawson survives with an 8-pin victory over Just Breath. Folks, that's definitely the highest scoring match that we've had so far. So that's pretty much giving Chong a run for his money. So I think Chong and Dawson match is going to be one for the ages, I think. The best bowler in Wii Sports Bowling up against the bowler who shot the highest series so far in our tournament. So that's going to be real interesting. So we have Dewey and Jenna Kate in our first match of the top 8. And we have our second match set up with Chong and Dawson. So you guys want to stay tuned in our 5th match to see who will move on to our 3rd match of our top 8. Well, that concludes the 4th match. And definitely our closest to date and our highest scoring. So if you guys don't want to miss any more bowling action in Wii Sports Bowling Tournament, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you will never miss any of our videos. I'm Karsatowski. Keep watching my content, and I will see you in the next video. See you guys!